opinion, what are the challenges that face the Muslim community in the United States, and how are those challenges similar or different from the challenges facing the rest of the community in America?
Yeah, I think in many regards the challenges are very similar to facing everyone. Anyone who's trying to raise children in the United States at this time, be they Muslim or not, are very concerned about the popular culture, if we can call it that, that is so becoming so monolithic, not just here in the United States, but around the world. For the first time in human history, images can be transported abroad, anywhere on the globe, at just the click of a mouse on the internet. And information and images are transmitted so quickly, and these images can be so deep-rooted in the psyche of young people as well as adults, that Muslims find a tremendous challenge to try to maintain the identity and the values of Islam in an environment in which this monoculture is being so promoted through the mass media and through the various agencies of the media in this country. So it's not just totally unique to Muslims. Christians and Jews and others who have religious or social values are likewise challenged by these assaults on how we want to raise our children and how we want to establish wholesome environments for each other. It's not unheard of to go to some of the most remote villages on this planet and find children singing songs that are being in this country, especially the gangster rap songs and these kinds of things, because of the easy transmission of these images. It used to be a time in this country, just on the question of dress and talking about the dress of males, it used to be a time, not too many years ago in this country, that from one part of the country to another, there was a very unique and distinct manner of expression, a very unique and distinct manner of dress, that you can go from one part of the country to the next, and the style of dress and the manner of dress for men and women was very different. But now there's this kind of monoculture, and it's kind of a homogenized culture that is really the antithesis of what has made America what it is today, and that is the coming together of people from all over the world. What is happening in this concept over the years of a melting pot is becoming a stew that's been overcooked. And so these different divergent cultures and values are coming into the stew, and it's being melted down into something that's bland. And so what was a strength in the past of this nation, of being a nation where diversity is trumpeted, and ideas that are brought from different perspectives was trumpeted, now this almost monoculture is making everything so bland that it is limiting the potential of the nation. So we as Muslims in this country find this not as a us versus them situation, or us versus them as it relates to the environment here in the United States. It's people of value, who have values, people who want to maintain values that are near and dear to them, whether we're Muslim or not, find we are challenged in a way that we had never been challenged before in human history, because of the availability of images that can so quickly be shot around the world.
Well, to follow up with the previous question, I just want to ask you about the common areas in which both Muslims and non-Muslims can work together in order to help one another and improve the community. So if you can tell us more about those common areas.
Sure. Yeah, I think it's very important. There is a ever-growing area called interfaith work. And I say an ever-growing area because interfaith work is not something that's just started in the last few years in this country. But what is happening today, as opposed to perhaps a few decades ago, or even less than a few decades ago, there was more of an emphasis on the part of Muslims for interfaith dialogue, in which Muslims and Christians and Jews and Hindus and others would sit down and explore the theology of the various faiths. But what has happened in recent years is more of interfaith work coming together around issues of common concern. So you have in areas like Habitat for Humanity, where just regular citizens come together and build houses for those who need houses, and they get these for very relatively cheap prices. You have persons of varying faith coming together around issues of social concern, like injustice in the criminal justice system, in areas of domestic violence and child abuse and things like that. And when we come together in those areas, we find that we are all human beings. We find that the differences in what we aspire to have in life are much more common than they are different, whether we are Christian or Muslims or Jews or regardless of our faith. And so I'm a firm believer and advocate for our identifying those areas of common concern with persons who are not Muslims and coming together and working together around those issues. Everyone is concerned about the future of our children. What are our children going to do? How will our children come out as far as their educational achievement and what they're being exposed to academically? The fact of the matter is, with the perhaps 6 to 7 to 8 million Muslims in this country, as many masjids, they say that perhaps there are over 2,500, almost 3,000 identifiable places of worship for Muslims in this country today. The numbers, I say 6 to 8 million, we really don't know. It may be more than that. But the fact of the matter is that with all of these Muslims and with all of the institutions and with all of the education that this group that we have in this nation today as Muslims that we may have, the fact of the matter is that only about 5%, less than 10% of Muslim children go to full-time Muslim schools. And so the issues of education are common issues for Muslims and non-Muslims alike. The issues of how our tax dollars are spent are issues for Muslims and non-Muslims alike. The health care being provided at reasonable rates and with insurance benefits being extended to people, these are issues that are common to us as human beings and citizens of this country. So we can pick an area, and you find that we have many more areas of commonality and of common concern because we're living here. Even on more negative fronts, drugs and alcohol and all of these things, because we are living here as a community, as citizens in this country, they are impacting and infecting the Muslim community similarly in many areas as it would be the non-Muslim community. So you can almost pick any area of cooperation, and we can find that once we realize our own humanness and these common areas of concern, that as we come together and work together on these problems, that we will benefit individually and collectively as a people.